Good having you on board, Andros. We hear you a lot on breakfast. We like what we hear, my friend. That's why you are with us this morning, with us here on Euro Game Day warm-up. Andros, what is going on at your former club, Tottenham? Because they're coming and they're going. Ten Hag, Pochettino, Conte, Fonseca, Gennaro Gattuso, who I remember playing for Rangers here in Glasgow. What is going on? They've all come and gone.
And this is why I made the comment I did the other day, Jim. I think if you can't get your first 3 or 4 choices and you're going to, no disrespect to Gattuso, why not give Ryan Mason the job for a season? Give it for a season. If he doesn't do well, sack him. If it does do well, then you can get your top target in next season. Rather than give another manager a 3-4 year deal and then sack him after 6 months and have to pay more compensation, why not give it to a guy you know has proven that can steady the ship and see how he goes? Simon's laughing, so we're going to have our first disagreement now. Let's have it.
No, I mean, in footballing management terms, he's a boy. He's a child. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the management credentials. He doesn't have the criteria. He may be...
Not a child,
but who does when they're first gone?
Yes, but he is, Jim, in credential terms, in experience terms. And by the way, I like Ryan. I've done shows with him. He's a really nice, well-balanced young man that's had some real adversity in his life and has come back and given himself an opportunity. The worst thing in the world that anybody can do is give him a job that he's not capable of doing because he simply doesn't have the toolkit to do it. It won't help him. It won't help Tottenham. Yeah. It won't help them achieve something. It won't help players be developed. It will be a car crash. It'll be up there with giving Duncan Ferguson the job at Everton.
But hasn't he proved in the last 3 months or however long he had it that he can do a job? He can steady the ship?
Absolutely not.
He didn't prove that.
What did he do? What did he do? He turned up in a turgid League Cup final. He got beaten by sides left, right and centre. All he had to do was constantly field the question about Harry Kane's future. He might have done that well.
For me, he handled it off the pitch. Unbelievable. On the pitch, he steadied the ship. All the players were saying how well he was, how he's similar to Pochettino, good methods, trying to get Spurs back to where they want to be. But these things don't happen overnight. You talk about the game against Man City. Yes, Tottenham weren't great, but what I saw is a team trying to get out of that mentality of sitting back and defending and not pressing and not playing out from the back. I saw them try and take on Man City, try and play out from the back. But all things considered, after 6 days of work, it didn't work, and Spurs lost the ball playing out from the back. But that's Mason's philosophy, and he's getting that through to the players, and the players are listening.
But if you're trying to be an elite football club, then you try to employ elite managers and you try to build the club from that perspective, not go to someone that's going to learn on your dime in their time. You look at Conte, that was always an ugly fit because Conte was going to drive people insane with his expectations. Pochettino, well, he's locked into PSG and they weren't going to allow that to happen. You know, Gattuso was walking out of Florentino after 23 days. Fonseca is somebody you don't really want because he's taken over a job from somebody that you didn't think was good enough. Tottenham will just have to spend their time getting the right manager, but it cannot possibly be Ryan Mason.
I agree. This is what I'm saying. If you could have got Ten Hag, Pochettino, then that would be great. But
they couldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're saying they have to take their time. Give it to Mason. Take your time. Interview managers, and then in December, in the next summer, then you can appoint your long-term manager. But you're a former chairman.
Yeah.
Why would you give it to somebody who you don't feel is a long-term manager on big wages, and then you sack him after 6 months because it doesn't go great, and you have to pay more money out?
Well, first of all, you don't take a manager you don't think is a long-term replacement. You spend your time finding the manager. And of course, Tottenham, unfortunately, for various reasons, whether it's people that they're speaking to, everyone goes through an interview process. Every time I've interviewed a manager, I've interviewed 5 or 6 different candidates. Not all of them have found themselves in the media. For particular reasons, because that's the nature of the beast now, everything Tottenham seem to be doing find themselves in the media. And people are suggesting that all of these clubs are completely remiss because they haven't got managers. Well, Everton haven't got a manager. Palace haven't got a manager. Celtic have only just filled their vacancy. It takes time, even more so in the climate that we're in, where there's not that much money around, so certain managers are being very arrogant about what they will and won't accept. I mean, Conte's walked out of Inter Milan after winning Serie A because he's been told they've got to cut their cloth because the climate is what it is. So they're very difficult to manage, these guys, and it's not a given that Tottenham can just go and get someone like Conte unless they want to completely give up their identity and let the manager run the club and let the manager run the finances.
He walked out of there after winning Serie A, so you know what you're getting with Conte. He's a winner.
But Jim, that's a cultural thing as well. You're getting somebody that's incredibly difficult to manage. Now, Tottenham's fit with the way they run this football club, unless Joe Lewis is going to say to Daniel Levy, oh, to hell with it, right? We'll do what Abramovich does. We'll do what Mansour does. We won't care about the finances. We'll just give you whatever you want. But that's not Tottenham's model.
Let me ask you a question. You're chairman of Spurs now, okay?
Yeah.
You've got Gattuso, who wants a 3-year deal. Are you giving Gattuso a 3-year deal, or are you giving Mason a 1-year deal and continue into your search for a long-term manager?
Well, that's
taking into consideration the pandemic and a new stadium.
Yeah, and that's assuming that those two candidates are both candidates that are either or. Mason, no. Gattuso, no. I said earlier on in the game that I felt Nuno Espirito Santo was a step in that direction.
I agree, yeah.
And I think just because he's been a bit clever with Palace and overplayed his hand with Everton, or overplayed his hand with Palace as well, because he probably thinks Palace is a sideways move and he can take liberties with Palace and tell them what he wants and how he doesn't want it and what he'll have and what he won't have. And Parish has pushed him back and gone, you know what, we're a big club. We don't need to bend and curtail to you. But going into Spurs might be a decent move. But I just think Ryan, at this stage in his career, it would not be doing him a favour to put him into a job that he cannot possibly ever have the toolkit to be able to manage big-time players that require real experience to be managing.
But he's proved...
I mean, Andros has a lot of respect out there, not just with Tottenham fans, but with fans all over the country. Is Andros right? Is it the case that Ryan Mason should be given the opportunity? Because at the moment, Tottenham are bouncing about from Ten Hag to Poch to Conte to Fonseca to Gattuso. I mean, who's next? Is it Nuno Espirito Santo? And who's to say they won't get him? 08717 223344 81089. We'll have a look at that next. And are there Tottenham fans out there who think we'd still be better off had we held on to Mourinho?
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning 10 till 1 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.